This is an action RPG that takes place in the Dungeon Fighter Online universe, but you don't need to know anything about that to enjoy this game, since it is set about 800 years before those events. You play as Khazan, once a great general who was betrayed, tortured, and left to die in the wilderness. At the beginning of the game, a vengeful spirit called the Blade Phantom possesses you, bringing you back from the brink of death. Initially, you try to fight off the spirit, but eventually strike a deal with it. You want revenge on those who betrayed you, and it needs a physical body to restore order to the netherworld, so you basically form an uneasy alliance where you share the same body. The combat in this game feels really satisfying and focuses around the typical three main actions: attacking, dodging, and guarding, but the game puts a big emphasis on stamina management and staggering enemies with various techniques, so part of the strategy is depleting their stamina bars before going for big damage. You can use 3 different weapon types: dual-wielding weapons for quick attacks, a great sword for powerful hits, and a spear for long reach. Each weapon has its own skill tree that lets you develop different playstyles. The impact feeling of the weapons is great, and the game doesn't hold back on blood splatters. The game has a very interesting art style with an extremely strong atmosphere and overall feeling to it that, in my opinion, can compete with the great Souls-likes out there. The environments range from snowy mountains to more fantastical settings as the story progresses. The boss fights so far feel challenging but fair. The attacks are well telegraphed and many have multiple phases where they change up their strategies. Some bosses have special burst attacks that cannot be blocked normally. As you progress through the game, you will collect different armor pieces and weapons that can be upgraded. The game also has item sets that give you bonuses. You can of course also increase your base stats and get skill points to unlock new abilities for your weapons. Beyond the standard attacks, you eventually unlock spirit skills. These use a separate resource instead of stamina, which gives you more options in combat and lets you be more aggressive. The difficulty feels balanced, challenging enough to be satisfying but not frustratingly hard. And most importantly, the game has different difficulty options, which immediately makes it more accessible than many other Souls-likes. The game feels a bit closer to games like Nioh, with a greater emphasis on loot, customizable builds, and flashier combat. The game is gonna have New Game Plus as an option once you complete the story, and supposedly it's gonna take you about 80 hours to reach the game's true ending. But this is too soon to say with certainty just yet. And that sentence concludes today's video. If your time was respected, a like or comment is very much appreciated.